Friends, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's not difficult for you, but it's nice for me, and we're starting. Dasha, will you make coffee? Mark put the bag of fish in the sink. Of course. She took a can of coffee from the shelf. Well, what are you doing? She caught his hand, pressing it to her stomach. I want you, Dashka, he whispered in her ear. I'm not ready. She was embarrassed. I don't have a shave there. Great. He whispered back to her. Can I shoot you? He asked. No, you don't have to. Are you ready yet? Almost. And you? On the way. Who am I lying to? Flashed through Dasha's mind. Which car is it? Abroad or Samara? Where did she get such thoughts in her head if there was not even a prerequisite for them? Who was waiting for her there? Who invited her there? Some strange dreams of youth were embodied in images that did not exist, but memory constantly evoked them, like real memories. This made it even more painful. She slammed the closet door. Vanya, get up, come on. She almost shouted at her husband, who was sleeping peacefully in bed. Without waiting for him to get up, she went out. Good morning. The sleepy husband came out of the bedroom. Dash did not deign to answer him, did not even look at him, continuing to stroke her skirt. Dash, good morning. The husband repeated. There was silence again in response. Over the years of living together, he had already realized that his wife was out of sorts, and now, washing his face, he was trying to figure out what he had done wrong. It had always been like this, all the time they were together. Somehow, from the very beginning of the relationship, it turned out that he did not go to conflict, tried to smooth it out, make concessions. And now he was always looking for the reason for his wife's bad mood in himself. Years of living together had accustomed him to this. Even if he was not to blame, he always agreed with her claims so as not to escalate the conflict, always asked her opinion. Even if she did not understand anything at all about the question, even did as she said, and then redid it, because it was necessary to listen. That's what I'm telling you, not to do as it occurred to you. And now he was remembering last night, in which there was nothing strange. When they went to bed, the mood was normal. If you don't have time to pack, you'll walk to school. His wife's scream was heard. This was already the morning scolding received by his son, who decided to lie in bed a little longer. The morning was irrevocably ruined, and by all three of them by one person. Of course, there was no conversation about any family breakfast. All three drove in silence along the same route. Son to school, wife and husband to work. And on a morning like this, which has also become a tradition, no one said goodbye to anyone when getting out of the car. Ivan wished his son a good day, but he didn't even mumble anything in response. Daria just silently left without saying a word. Her office overlooked a courtyard enclosed by metal sheets that had already rusted so badly that they could crumble in a strong wind. Due to the weak daylight, I had to constantly work with the table lamp on. Closer to lunch, when everyone was already thinking about food and not about work, some kind of fuss began in the corridor, loud conversation, sometimes shouting. The neighbor in the office, Tanya, looked out into the corridor. Well, what is it? Natasha asked her neighbor curiously. Yes, wait. It's not clear. Tanya shushed her. It's probably Arsenika's wife who came to deal with Olga. Yes, exactly. There's Sanik in the hallway, standing between them and trying to take everyone outside. Tanya, close the door. Dashka said not loudly. It's none of our business. It's right that I'm drawn to the street so that I don't have to arrange a circus here. Now this Prashmandovka is going to snatch it. Natasha exclaimed joyfully. Well, what are you happy about? Dashka did not look up from the monitor. And that one? There's nothing to make love to other people's men. Natasha exclaimed triumphantly. It didn't stop you. Tanya immediately noticed acidly and burst out laughing. I've always known the boundaries. It is not understood what Natasha said. Do you hear, boarder? Dasha looked up from the monitor. Isn't it your handiwork? Even if it's mine, what is it? Natasha looked defiantly at her colleague. Are you completely stupid? What have you done? Now Dasha couldn't contain her emotions. Yes, let her know what kind of husband she has. She won't miss a single skirt. Puss knows who he lives with and what kind of bouquet he can bring home. Oh, you're a fool, Natasha. You're a fool. Dashka even took off her glasses. You made love to him yourself, and now you're throwing mud at him. What happened is gone. Natasha summarized. You've ruined their whole family life. Dashka said gloomily. With his envy and hatred. Did they live soul to soul before? Maybe they did, who knows? But she did not know about his infidelities and was calm. She knew that her husband was at work, would come home. She needed to get ready, make some plans. Maybe they weren't over the moon with happiness, but they lived like everyone else quietly and with trust. And now what? He was an hour late, and she would torment herself with thoughts that he was cheating on her. And then there will be a scandal at home, because she will stop believing his words. And how to live like this? And you will not get divorced, because the mortgage is hanging on them, and the son is studying at the institute, and it is impossible to live in constant suspicion. Have you thought about that? It's better this way than in secret. Natasha looked haughtily at her companion. Pray that Sanik doesn't find out who it came from. Or what? That. Dashka put on her glasses again. The noise in the hallway died down, and lunchtime began. Natasha did not sit in the office and left, and Tanya, having warmed the tea, sat down with Dashka. Damn, I'm thinking, what if I had it like that? Is it better not to know, or to know? For me, Tanya, it's better not to know than to live all the time in fear that my husband is walking with someone somewhere. I probably don't either. But anyway, just in case, I check his phone when he goes to bed. Well, what did you find there? Nothing. Fishing and hunting. I turned over everything. They really catch fish, then hunt. Well, they drink all the time. That's good. What are they drinking? No, I didn't find anything. But if she had, what then? You have 3 children, also a mortgage and loans. Would you get divorced? No, I'm not divorced. Although it would be a shame. Or maybe it would have been my fault. Maybe I wouldn't give him something he wants. Yes, they all want the same thing. Dashka sipped her tea. Well, not everyone is like that. No, well, the photos there are different. That's one thing, but an outsider in bed. This is a sacred bed for us. But for them? Dasha did not have time to finish, as the door of the office opened and the boss's driver, a young guy named Andrei, looked inside. Well, Daria Mikhailovna, are we going? He asked. Dasha was already confused at first. Only then she remembered that she had asked the chief to take her to the district department for inspection. Oh, Andrei, I completely forgot about the trip. It slipped my mind altogether. Yes, of course we're going. I'll just pack my things now. Good. I'm in the car. Having packed her things, Dasha went out to the entrance, where a service Vesta was already waiting for her with the air conditioner on. Let's go in the cool, Andrei said cheerfully. And it's already 37 outside. It's shooting without a break. The car drove quickly towards the exit from the city. In the coolness, Daria even dozed off and did not notice how quickly 50 kilometers flew by. Daria Mikhailovna, wake up, we've arrived. Andrei's voice sounded through a dream. She smiled and opened her eyes. The planned checkup took a little longer, so Daria still had to write her husband a message to pick up her son from the sports section. She still did not want to call him. For some reason, by the evening, the realization that he was the cause of all her problems had only grown stronger. But what was his fault? She did not realize and did not want to realize it. Once upon a time, about 15 years ago, he seemed to her a normal, purposeful guy, promising and independent. Then he somehow turned into a submissive, henpecked man who has no opinion of his own, constantly trying to please everyone and be good for everyone. For some reason, it annoyed her. Maybe because she herself believed that it was not worth putting the tail on the turn for everyone in a row. Some even should say to their face everything that they thought of them. And her husband's job prospects also turned out to be weak. Even his career growth could not bring a consistently high income to the house, and she had to go to work. Several times she tried to quit her job, citing her health, but then she still had to go out again, because her husband's salary was not enough. That's it. Let's go back. Daria got into the car. I bought you coffee. Andrei handed over a paper cup. Look hot. Well, you give. Dashka was genuinely surprised. No one has treated me to coffee for a long time. I'm already embarrassed. Come on, Daria Mikhailovna. What's so awkward about that? It's awkward to call these 3 numbers on the back of a bank card. Daria laughed. Let's go outside the village and drink coffee, otherwise I don't want to get wet on the way, she said. The car left the village very quickly and turned onto a dirt road. where it stopped at the edge of a ravine just near the forest. Daria got out of the car, and Andre followed. What a beauty! Daria sipped her coffee. That's not the word. And you feel how fresh it is here. Not what we have in the asphalt jungle. We don't have a jungle yet. And imagine how it is in Samara or Moscow. They drank coffee and chatted without being forced at all. When the coffee was over, Daria went back to the car, but her heels sank into the ground, and she almost fell, twisting her leg. Ouch! She shouted, grabbing the open door. What? Andre immediately jumped up to her. I pulled or twisted my leg. Daria struggled into the back seat. Let me take a look. Andre sat down and took off her sandals. How do you still walk on such a stiletto? He examined the foot, pressing his fingers on different parts of it. No, there's nothing terrible, maybe just a slight sprain. No more? I can make it go away quickly. He smiled. How? The pain has already receded, remaining in the leg with some kind of distant echo. Andre bent down and kissed her leg, then a little higher, higher and higher. Daria froze, either from surprise or from a feeling of wild animal excitement that arose in her lower abdomen. When Andre's lips reached her knee, she sat down. Andrew, what are you doing? Somehow she exhaled. He lifted his head, paused for a moment, and kissed her on the lips. And to her amazement, she answered. As if in some kind of slow awareness and understanding, Daria gave an account of what was happening, but did not interfere in any way. It's good that you shaved, otherwise it would be so uncomfortable, Daria thought. What are you thinking, you fool? You're being… No, that's enough. She pulled her lips free. Daria Mikhailovna, you're all wet. Andre kissed her again. How beautiful you are, Daria Mikhailovna. His voice sounded so unexpected. She opened her eyes. Andre was sitting at her feet, stroking her thighs and buttocks, shamelessly examining her between her legs. Say the same thing. For some reason, she didn't want to hide her charms from his eyes. Seduced an old aunt. Yes, how old you are. Who would have thought that compliments could be after love, when they would seem to be no longer needed? Daria smiled. If I get sick from you, I'll have to get married. She tried to sound serious. Yes, I'm ready without it. There was also a serious note in Andre's voice. Leave your husband, let's rent an apartment, we'll live there. Daria smiled as she put on her panties. It's not serious, she replied. Why is that? I'm serious. His voice was firm. I believe you're serious. But I'm 37 and you're 23. I already look almost like a mom. And in 10 years I'll be under 50, and you're in your early 30s and will look ridiculous and awkward. It's like mom and son. People will point fingers at us. No, Andrew, all this is nonsense. You need a young girl with whom to create a family and meet old age, not to inspect me. It was very good for me, thank you. And kissed him. And me. I would also like, not so much, but so that there would be time to caress you, kiss you everywhere. She covered his mouth with her finger. Be quiet, or I'll wake up again. And she laughed. Let's go home. She walked from work, promising Andre that she would see him again sometime. I went to the pharmacy, where I bought contraceptives for the first time in many years. And I've already cooked dinner. Her husband greeted her with an apologetic smile. I'm not hungry, I'm tired. Dashka squeezed out. My head hurts, I'm going to go for a swim and sleep. How much was in it? Immediately flashed through my head. Throwing them into the washing machine immediately, she took a bath and went to bed. A little later, her husband came and somehow cautiously gently put his hand on her buttock. She suddenly wanted to turn around and hit him, but instead she began to cry softly. Tears flowed onto the pillow. Her husband was sniffing next to her, not hearing anything, and tomorrow was already waiting in the wings to understand what kind of mood Dasha would get up in.